Yo, what's up everyone? I'm Tarabran, and I'm going to speculate about the new Atlas in PoE, the one that's going to be introduced in 3.9 expansion, Conquerors of the Atlas. What this expansion is all about is basically upgrading Atlas. You're going to start with fully white Atlas, and you upgrade it by defeating the Conquerors and getting Watchstones. So it will give us a lot of decisions to make, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting. And basically, shape maps and elder maps are gone too. So is shaper and elder influence, and we'll have new influence types. And those influence types will be crusaders, adjudicators, hunters, and warlords. It's not going to be like this. The red watchtowns come from warlords. Hunters are maybe green, adjudicators maybe blue, and crusaders maybe yellow. I mean, I'm speculating, but it can't look like that with the colors, because these colors don't seem to really fit in, I think. So, and because we have like different colors, we could be like locked behind tiers too. Don't really know much about it, but I mean, I'm just speculating. What this video is all about. Because like, let's say once you have only white atlas, as you can see, there's a lot less maps. So I think it's likely that you'll need to possess a lot less maps to spawn like a lower one to start upgrading. I mean, you might need to possess more maps and upgrade like that. So another interesting thing is they noticed on a new atlas is, well, it's pretty likely it when you start from middle of the atlas, unlike how we do it on 3.8 version, you will go up in tiers, which is pretty logical, right? So let's say it's T1, T2, T3 map, T4, T5 map, and as you upgrade the section, all the maps in the section go up by a certain amount. You also spawn a certain amount of new maps too, like some amount for yellow, some amount for red. I don't know. But what basically means is you have limited upgrades to your section. So what I'm trying to say is, it's very likely that these inside sections will be limited tiers. You won't be able to, let's say, upgrade this inside section to T16. You won't be able to upgrade it to, I think, T11 to T13 maps, and the outside sections to maybe T14 to T16 maps. I mean, this is very speculative. I'm just reiterating that, but it's very likely that's how it's going to work. And you can also tell by the maps themselves, these are a lot easier maps on the inside sections. You have like a lot easier bosses compared to these outside maps, which have like primordial blocks like Desert Spring, Canyon, Carcass, Core. Like all these maps are pretty hard. So I think that's going to work. And you're also getting changes to sections. You no longer have radius. You can totally forget about it. Now you just drop a section on one section of the map, and all the maps in that section will have section mods. We don't know about the changes of sections as of yet, but there could be a way to abuse this. Basically, what you do is you unsocket all the watchstones, put on a white sextant, put them back in, and you might have a white sextant applied to all your red maps, which is pretty good. But we don't know a lot of stuff. Does it cost currency to unsocket these guys? Do sextants stay as you upgrade the maps? I mean, there's a lot of things to consider here, but that might be one way. So, I mean, with all the speculative information in my mind, I think it's pretty clear there's two ways to do this for the end game. I mean, I guess two ways really. So one way is to just upgrade everything, like in this screenshot right here. Just upgrade everything, you'll have a lot of red tier maps and you'll run a lot of maps. A lot of Atlas bonus, seems pretty good. And if it works like the new Atlas, you will only be dropping like the 11 plus maps. We will never drop yellow maps, basically. I mean, it seems pretty good, but there's a downside. You need to upgrade 8 sections. That's a lot of effort. So what I think will be another strat is you choose 2 sections you want to run. One lower one, which is probably inside one, and one outside one. So choose them, let's say these, which I think are pretty good. This what sections most people will do with strat, I think. And basically you just upgrade them to full, and you choose, well, don't choose, just upgrade all the other sections to yellow maps. So basically, so they don't interfere with your drops. Just upgrade them all for an Atlas bonus. I mean, that's it. And as usual, we meet your endgame maps you run. Probably these are probably T11 to T13. These are T14, T16 maps you run in the endgame. I mean, it seems pretty good to me. But I was thinking, and there might be another way to play the endgame. To basically do, you choose basically 2 regions. I think it might be possible to do more, but you might be suffering a bit because you'll be losing quite a bit of Atlas bonus. So what you do is, like, let's say I want these 2 regions. I'll explain a bit later why I choose those, but it will make some sense. So I choose these 2. Upgrade other regions to yellow maps. These, upgrade, 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 upgrade. And now what I do is, I mean, I marked them in yellow, but I didn't say that I'm upgrading this. What I'm doing is, I upgrade this region, I drop some of these maps. I should do that. I drop, like, let's say some of these maps, which are pretty good layouts. And these are the only maps I have completed in this region. These maps are not completed. So they shouldn't drop. They are not completed. Try to say you only have the maps you want completed. Okay, so what does that mean basically? Well, I collect some of these maps. What I do is I swap over these war stones to here. In this region, I do the same thing. Only have certain maps completed, like let's say beach, maybe sulfur vents, glacier armory, maybe race course, maybe cups. You don't have to be connected. Just want to complete all the good layouts, I guess. And basically, because you unsocketed these maps are no longer in your drop pool. All these maps. You have like these maps as lower tiers, but they will not drop when you run these maps. So what happens is you will drop these maps, and you just basically run them, drop a bunch of these maps, transfer the Warstone, probably the last upgrade one, into here, run these maps again, and you'll be dropping these maps. That makes sense. You kind of like circle between 2 regions and like rotate maps. It's kind of interesting, I think, and I think it should work. This is going to be my strategy for 100 push, I think, unless we know some more extra information about how this works and how it might not work. But I mean, it seems like pretty solid strategy to me, because you'll be able to choose your layouts to run. You won't need to run like all the so-so layouts with like bad bosses. You'll be able to choose like very fast layouts, like let's say armory, which is great, lots of density and everything. One drawback of this strategy is you will not have influence. Probably won't have the influence, because in the current 3.8 version, influence is locked to your current atlas. So since you unupgrade these, you probably will be like as yellow maps, or I don't know how much you unupgrade these. Usually like yellow or white maps. So we won't have the influence because you'll run them as red. That's what I'm trying to say. So it might not be viable if the influence is really strong, like it gives you a lot of returns. But yeah, that's basically it. So that's my strategy.